Hello guys, this is the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view preview from ROH Quadruple 23 account on YouTube. And just as at a glance at the match card, it looks pretty strong, with a few pretty good matches in there that could turn out, could turn into a pretty good pay-per-view. I want to start with the Divas Championship match between Mickie James and Alicia Fox. Now I've got to admit to not being a very big fan of the women's division in WWE. I don't watch it very much, and from what I've seen of Mickie James, having been around for a while, she's a pretty good. She's quite acrobatic. She's got a good few moves on her, and she's a veteran. She's had her share of women's titles in the past, and I think she'll go over in this match against Alicia Fox, who I've not really got a lot to say about. As I say, I don't watch women's wrestling very often, but it's purely because Mickie James is quite a strong wrestler and she's recently picked up the title. I'd go for her to, well, she's not recently picked up the title, but I'd say her run will continue and she'll go over in this match. Next one I'm going to talk about is the unified tag team title match between Jericho and Batista and Rey Mysterio. Now this is quite a strange one in my opinion. Jericho, they went up against MVP and Mark Henry, and they seem to be holding out pretty well. I thought MVP and Mark Henry would have won that match, but Jericho came out victorious, and I think they're going to win this match again today, purely because Batista is a main card wrestler. He's not going to settle for being the one half of a tag team champion, and he should be fighting for world titles, not the unified tag team titles. I think Rey Mysterio is going to go back. He's going to go back to challenging for the Intercontinental title, possibly at the next pay-per-view. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go for Jericho to win in this match. It's got a potential to be a half decent match with Batista coming back and Rey Mysterio, the acrobat. He gets the fans on their feet. But I think ultimately Jericho are going to continue to reign in the tag team division. I think they'll win this match. It could be pretty. I'd predict it'll be a good 3.5 star match. 3.5, probably generous, possibly 3 stars. The next match I'm going to talk about is the US Championship match, the triple threat between Kofi Kingston, The Miz, and Jack Swagger. And Kofi Kingston, he's done pretty decent actually in retaining this title. He's had a good few matches, and this is quite a tough one to call because The Miz, after getting chucked off Raw, he then came back, and I think he came back. I think he's going to push. I think the WWE are going to give him a push. He's going to challenge for the US title, but Jack Swagger, I think you can rule him out. He's not going to win. He's right in between, being a main eventer and a mid carder, because every time he's come up against one of the big boys like John Cena or Batista or anybody like that, he's always come out on the negative side, having lost. So he's not really one that challenges for the big titles, but I don't think he'll win this match. I think you'd have to put this one down to Kofi Kingston retain. I think he's gonna continue to reign for a while, with possibly The Miz picking up the title at the next pay-per-view. Although that'll be interesting to see how the WWE play this one. And the next match I'm going to talk about is DX and Legacy. This has been WWE have pushed this rivalry quite heavily with Legacy. They started out as just being lackeys to Randy Orton essentially, with just coming out and aiding him whenever he needed help, coming interfering in his matches, helping him win. But now they've come out of their own and they've made a challenge of DX, with Shawn Michaels returning before SummerSlam and DX winning that match. And then at Breaking Point, which was quite surprising, I don't think anybody really expected Legacy to go over at Breaking Point, but they did. It's quite a shock actually, and this is another tough one to call, which is why I think it'd be a pretty good match, because you can't really tell what way it's going to go. Because Legacy is quite an effective combination. DiBiase is big, he's strong, he's quite athletic. Then you've got Cody Rhodes, who's fast, he's nippy. They make an effective partnership, but DX they're veterans. They've been around for a long time. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They've both had experience in Hell in a Cell matches, and for that reason, I think they'll win in this match. It could be one of the contenders for match of the night if it's played correctly. I think it could be a good 3.5-star match. That you could say I'm being a bit generous in my rating, but I would say 3.5 stars. Possibly drop down to 3. Depends how the match pans out. If it's given time as well, then it could be a pretty good match. The next match I'm going to talk about is the Intercontinental Championship match between John Morrison and Dolph Ziggler. John Morrison only recently became Intercontinental Champion after Rey Mysterio, of course, the drug scandal. He had to drop it, which is quite a shame, I think, because Mysterio made quite a good champion, and I think WWE were hoping to give him quite an extended run with it, and with Dolph Ziggler potentially challenging. And now John Morrison's now picked it up with Mysterio dropping it, and Dolph Ziggler he contested Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam. That was a pretty entertaining match, I have to say. Having watched it, there was quite a few times where the crowd weren't too sure who was gonna win, with Mysterio pulling up his usual moves. But eventually Mysterio came on top, with Dolph Ziggler quite unlucky not to win actually. Dolph Ziggler quite a good wrestler. John Morrison, he's been fairly consistent over the years. I think he's got the package to be, a main eventer really. But this could be a starting point. The Intercontinental Champion, it'll get him recognised. I think he'll hold this title for a couple of months at least, because WWE really need to start pushing, giving extended title reigns. I think John Morrison will not comfortably, but I think he'll win this match. I don't think it'll be given a lot of time though, because you've got the 3 Hell in a Cell matches, and you've got the Unified Tag Team title match as well, which might take up a little bit of time. But I think if they do give it time and let it play itself out, then it could be a decent match in my opinion. It could be a good 3-star match, with the potential to be 3.5 stars, because it's 2 good wrestlers going head to head, and in my opinion John Morrison is going to come out on top. And the next match we're going to talk about is the WWE Championship match between John Cena and Randy Orton. Now this is quite interesting because it's John Cena's very first Hell in a Cell match, even though he's had experience in Elimination Chamber matches in the past. But this being his first Hell in a Cell match, I think it could be quite interesting. Randy Orton, he's had a few matches, and he's had a few Hell in a Cell matches before, and having just lost the title, they'll have the crowd on edge. You'll not be sure which way it's going to go. But I think